Oh, I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. I've just noticed I've had an issue. Off to a bad start already. Good evening. My name's John Van Ree. With me tonight, I'll have Nato Brown joining me a little bit later. This circuit hits Winner in Montegi. We start on the main straight, downhill through turn 1, under the oval into turn 2, sweep through 3, 4, 5, down the long straightaway into 6, into turn 7, and then after that we're into turn 8, turn 9, turn 10 is a good braking opportunity to passing, turn 11 into the hairpin, another opportunity for passing, and then down the hill again through the start-finish line. And of course, tonight we're doing a 250 kilometre race. The circuit length is 3.4 kilometres. There's 11 turns. The record is held by Adam Briggs with a 1 minute 19.33. So she's a fast little sweeping circuit, this one. And we'll have a quick look at the championship. Just speaking of Adam, of course, is leading Blake Warboys. James Chastity from the Banter Alliance in third. Jamie McKnight, after getting a podium position last week, moves himself up into fourth. From Cameron G. Jones from Century Motorsport. Blake Delaney in sixth and Damien Johnstone in seventh. Craig Schultz is in eighth. Nicholas Loveridge in ninth, who's missing this evening. Jamie Dyke from Fishy Motorsports in 10. Outside the boss there in 11th, Michael Whiting. Ash Barella from WK&P. Alan Dawson, Ben Morrison, Harrison Dengate, Christian Smart from Synergy Sim Racing, Matt Stewart, Andrew Archer, Kenny Latta and Hayden Norris rounds out our top 20. And while we're looking at the top 20, we might quickly jump on and have a look at the grid. And we still have a couple of minutes left here. So have a quick look at the qualifying. Of course, we have on pole the one and only Adam Briggs. Great effort from Briggsy to put himself on pole there with a 1:18.5. Out from his teammate Brenton Hobson. Damien Johnstone in third. Blake Delaney from Fishy Motorsports putting it on second row in fourth. Great effort from Blake. Jamie Dyke, of course, in fifth. Another one of the Fishy boys, Cameron Jones in sixth. Blake Warboys, who I've been told is a late scratching, most likely to the fact that I believe he's suffering from post-viral fatigue. So it's a little bit disappointing for Blake, second in the championship at the moment. Ben Morris is the lead in the 9.5 SimSport boys, with David Kirby from Fishy in 9th. 10th is Simon Chadwick from 9.5. 11th is Craig Schultz from 9.5. And, of course, we've got after that Michael Whiting from Fishy. Michael Angus is another late scratching, I've been told. Kenny Latta from Synergy in 14th. 15th, the People's Champion, Jamie McKnight. Can he do a comeback from this far back and get himself on the podium this time? Dave Coleman from Fishy Motorsports in 16th. 17th is Sam Noble from 9.5. 9.5 boys doing very well with quite a few boys up the front end of the field in the top 20. James Chastity from the Banter Alliance in 18th. Paul Young, his teammate, in 19th. Stephen Varga back in 20th, hoping for a much better run after being taken out in a few accidents in the past few races. Christian Smart, his teammate, sitting behind in 21st. Harrison Dengate back in 22nd. Late Male Hazard, he's found a bit of pace in the setup since qualifying. Michael Brennan from 9.5 in 23rd. Alan Dawson from Riot in 24th. Warren Davis in 25th. 26th is Matt Stewart in Vast Motorsports. Bruce Tanny from Mag and Turbo in 27th. Ash Barella all the way back in 28th for WK&P. Brad Doble from Bogans Racing, our feature image tonight for the broadcast. Followed by Matty Whitaker back in 30th. Matty Scholes from Riot in 31st. 32nd, Hayden Norris. 33rd is Jason Scholler from Century Motorsports. Andrew Ritchie back in 34th in Banter Alliance. Daryl Shannon, his teammate, in 35th. Stephen Lawrence from Riot in 36th. Roy Clark all the way back in 37th. And this is where it gets really exciting. We have James Scott. We remembered him last week with the Memorial Fountain at Belle Isle, but the man himself is back, starting rear grid behind Roy Clark in 38th. And then we have the Simrig DPR boss, Andrew Dyson, coming in 39th. Peter Pavlich from Century Motorsports in 40th. Jamie Davis leading the Autosurf boys in 41st from his teammate Tyson Hamner in 42nd. Braden Martin from Locked On Racing, newcomer to the series tonight, in 43rd. And then we have Matt Brunt rounding out our field. We have a huge field tonight for such a fast, tight little circuit. It's going to be quite exciting to see how these boys all cope and manage to keep up here. So just bear with me 1 second, as we're not far away now. Only a minute and a half to go before we get started. I'll get myself organised as well. Move a few screens around in the background, and let's see if we can find someone that's actually on track. Brenton Hobson. Brenton Hobson will be looking for a good result. One of the boys that's in the Logitech Pro Series tomorrow night, so great to see him here. A big shout out to a few other people. Jake Burgess, of course, on the chat as well. Tracy Warboys. A little bit disappointing that we haven't got Blake here for you tonight, but believes Nathan is on a Tinder date first before he comes instead of soccer. And Sean McNamara, 9-5s, who's team boss supporting the boys on. And Mary Partridge, of course, Harrison's grandmother, on supporting Harrison. So good evening, everybody. Hope you're all fit and well and ready for what I think is going to be a cracker of a race. Some big names starting up the back, so I'm really excited to see what these boys can really do around this very short circuit. I dropped in the qualifying and did a few laps with the boys on Sunday night. It's a tough little track, and I reckon they're all going to be pushing the limits of it, I reckon. But Adam Briggs, of course, our man on pole, man of the hour, drove really well on Sunday night in Scops, as well as a few other boys in the field. So it's great to see these guys backing up. And as mentioned before, a few of the other lads doing the Logitech G Series tomorrow night, and a few of those boys missing as well tonight. So, and the camera, Brenton Hobson in the pits, of course. Camera's not liking it. We're about to go to the grid. And while that does that, I'll click this. So if you are following on the chat, jump in, let me know who you're supporting, let me know who you're following. We'll try and make sure everyone gets a bit of a look in tonight as we go to the grid now. Wait for these boys to grid up and just trying to work out where everybody is. Okay, he's doing some weird stuff on me. And we put up the start of the grid there, and cars are well down the grid there. Here we go, they're all over the hill, which is a bit funny. Anyway, we'll have to live with this. Here we go. So on pole, we have Adam Briggs, as we said, Brenton Hobson, Damien Johnston, Blake Delaney, Jamie Dyke, Cameron Jones, Ben Morris. We also have David Kirby, Simon Chadwick, Craig Schultz, Michael Whiting, Kenneth Latter. Then we move on to Jamie McKnight, Dave Coleman, Sam Noble, Chasty, Paul Young, Vargs, Christian Smart, Harrison Dengate, Michael Brennan, Alan Dawson, Warren Davis. So quite a few boys here as we'll keep flicking through this. Reading in the chat there, Sean McNamara agreeing with me. Briggs is going to be tough to beat. I'd have to agree with that one. And of course, at the very end of the list here, we've only got 43 cars in tonight. Very end of the list, we have Richie Barella as our safety car driver. Bring up a few images and get ready to go. This is a little bit exciting. Looking forward to this. The boys, of course, coming up over the hill on the start line, then coming down the other side. As we've got about a minute to go. And big shout out to Sean McNamara. Good luck tomorrow night in the Pro Series, mate. We're definitely cheering you on. Just waiting for a few more boys to grid up as well. Cameron Jones, Stephen Varga, Christian Smart, Harrison Dengate still to grid up. Of course, 3-minute grid tonight, so boys making the most of that one. Might try a different camera again. The boys definitely not far away from getting going. Long straightaway down into a very tight right-handed corner. Need to make sure we get this one correct, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. Expecting a few boys here to be pushing their limits. Right, and we're about to go. Got gridding symbol, boys are on the grid. 1 red, 2 red, 3 red, 4 red, 5 red. Green, green, we are racing. We are away. Looks like Briggsy's got a good jump here. Hobbo coming at him. Damien Johnson coming in on the outside as we come down into turn 1. Briggs gets the job done. Hobson pushes Johnson out wide. Johnson tucks in behind. Jamie Dyke having a great start there into 4th. Blake Delaney coming through. Cameron Jones coming through as well. So a couple of good moves here. A little bit of an accident. Clark and Brunt in the background have been involved in something. We'll come back and look at that on the replay in a minute. Jason Scholler, Sam Noble as well. Chastity's on the radio, so not sure what's going on. These boys are away. It looks like safety cars in the pits, so not out on track, so that's a good sign. Looks like everyone's finally cleared up. Adam Briggs here, great start. Man of the moment, our championship leader. Off to a cracker. Brenton Hobson keeping him honest with teammate Damien Johnson behind. Jamie Dyke and Blake Delaney representing the Fishy Boys. Of course, being in Japan, we've got to call them the Sushi Train. A good little start here from Adam. As we might quickly jump back, try and have a quick look what happened to Roy Clark, just for the Banter Alliance faithful out there watching. Quick look on the Supercheap replay. Roy Clark caught up in a bit of traffic here. It looks like there was one of the cars, McKnight, might have been spun off already. And yeah, bit of a sandwich there, so that's a bit of a pickle. Matthew Brunt also involved in that. And I'm not sure who went off before, but we'll go back. Jamie McKnight, I think, might have been the one that went off before. We'll quickly go to that before we go back. McKnight getting a love tap from one of the BAR boys, going off backwards. And we'll go back to live pictures and see what's happening up front. So Briggsy is now a 0.7 second lead from Hobson. Johnson another second back. So these boys starting to move out a little bit now. As we have a look, Blake Delaney with a bit of a train behind him. Of course, the big WEMG on the rear spoiler of these guys is West End Motor Group. Just for those following along at home and not sure what it means. And we might just jump back, have a look how James Scott's getting on. He's already up 13 spots. Past Ash Barella already, making the move here, coming down on one of the Fishy Boys. We might just jump on the nose here and have a quick look at James. So a few spinners and accidents early on's made a few overtakes a little bit easier for him. An accident up in front here. We'll stay on the nose cam, see if we can pick up who it is or they got going. Looks like they're going again. I have a feeling it might have been Blake Delaney or Ben Morris, who's down a few spots. Yeah, Ben Morris had an off track. That was a lap with James Scott. We just went around in a 1:20.32. Our race leader Adam Briggs' last lap was a 1:19.4, so it gives you a bit of an indication of how traffic can slow you down. And Adam Briggs has cleared out the 1 second lead. Brenton Hobson now under a bit of pressure from Damien Johnson behind. Of course, 2 compulsory pit stops tonight, so definitely a fair bit of strategy involved with how these boys are going.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We won't argue.
And people who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small, and that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name. Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super.
Of course, big thank you to our series sponsor, Supercheap Auto, as Damien Johnson now starts to put the pressure right up on behind Brenton Hobson. And Sean McNamara, what happened to Morris? He went off track, mate. So here's a Supercheap Auto replay of Ben Morris. Almost caught it. It tucks in. Nicely recovers without getting into too much more trouble. They might just have a look back, a few battles a bit further on. Michael Scholes now is under a fair bit of pressure from James Scott. They're good to see the right boys out again tonight. James Scott with a dive on the inside. And Hayden Norris, another one battling as well, another one of the right boys in a Banter Alliance sandwich. With Andrew Ritchie in front and Warris Davis behind him. And Alan Dawson, now the other one of the right boys. He's sitting up 5 spots already in 17th. Harrison Dengate is up 9 spots in 11th. It's been a good little start from Harwich. You'd be pretty happy with that. And here comes the Spammers. So to have a look up the front again, Briggs is now cleared out to 2.35 seconds from Hobson and Johnson. These two boys have been battling a little bit for second and third, allowing Briggs to get away a bit. But they have cleared out a little bit on Jamie Dyke, who's 2.4 seconds behind. And then Blake Delaney, another one of the fishy boys, is under a bit of pressure from Cameron Jones. Great little battle here. Fishy boys in front showing some good pace. Jones catching up on the odd corner. Great drive out here. Looks to go wide. And gets the job done. Great pass there by Cameron Jones. Moves on to the next target now. Jamie Dyke. Oh, bit of fuel saving going on from Blake Delaney. There's the strategy definitely going to be very interesting tonight. Let's try and have a look. Yep, Chadwick had an off as well. Sean, we'll go Supercheap Auto replay. Let's have a look what happened to Simon. Found the grass. Got a bit loose. Managed to get back on track. A little bit of a moment, but not too bad. And Simon's also pitted, so he might have been caught up in the stuff that went down a bit earlier, I think, back on lap 1. Just having a look at the moment. Can't quite see him name showing up, so not 100% certain on that. As we go back to live picks. And Craig Schultz, 9.5. He's under a fair bit of pressure here from the Fishy Boys inside. Michael Brennan's had an incident. We'll jump to that in a second. We'll just watch this overtake. Looks like it's been clearly done. Michael Brennan, as we go Supercheap Auto replay again. Someone's pinching the brakes in front. Michael gets a little bit, manages to catch it. Probably got a little bit excited by the boys in front of him. Andrew Ritchie's had an incident as well. We'll have a quick look at the Banter Alliance driver. Already missing a bonnet. And I'd say some car issues going on there as we go back to live pictures. And Cameron Jones still putting the pressure on the Fishy Boys in front of him. Sitting here in the middle of the sushi train. So sometimes these short tracks are quite tough for the drivers. You don't get time to rest. You don't get time to adjust your fuel strategy. You don't get time to think too much. You've got to be focusing on the next corner and the driver in front. So for 74 laps around here, don't be surprised if we start to see some fatigue set in towards the end. And remember, we have 2 compulsory pit stops. So we've got to remember these boys are definitely going to be working quite difficult to it. We have a look. No one in the top 20's made a pit stop yet. And just to recap the race situation, Adam Briggs is now out to a 3.3 second lead from Hobson. Hobson's got Damien Jones in 0.7 behind. Jamie Dyke's 3.5 seconds back. And then we're back onto this battle here, where Jamie Dyke leading this battle with Cameron Jones and Blake Delaney behind. David Kirby hanging a bit further back in 7th, another 3.4 seconds down the road. And then some great battling going on after that between Laddar, Whiting, Schultz and Dengate. Schultz now just having an incident. Not sure what happened. We'll go to the Supercheap Auto replay. Looks like he's missed his braking point. Dengate with the dive on the inside. Dengate with the tap. I think it's Dengate. So we'll leave that one up to the stewards and move on. Back to live pictures. And we might just jump back. James Scott now is up 22 spots in 14th. Great drive from James here so far. And we might jump on board for a lap with James. Crank up the sound and listen, guys. Sorry, Tracy, I didn't realise I muted my mic. Yeah, so definitely a fair bit happening here. Just flying solo, waiting for Nathan. A few things get missed, so I apologise for the mic issues. So, very interesting battle going on at the moment. We've got James Scott, who's worked his way up in the 9th, up 27 spots. He's just cleared this battle pack in front of him here that we're looking at the moment. This pack at the moment with Christian Smart, Matt Stewart, Harrison Dengate. This is all these guys fairly well bunched up. But the story of the race at the moment is Adam Briggs is now 6.8 seconds out from Brenton Hobson, who's 0.4 seconds ahead of his teammate Damien Johnson, who was 5 seconds clear of Cameron Jones, Jamie Dyke and Blake Delaney. James Scott is already up 27 spots, which is a cracking drive from James. Latched onto the back of Michael Whiting now. Surely start to think with a drive like this, he'll be using his tyres up or using a lot more fuel than everybody else. As we heard earlier, there's a few boys out in fuel strategy. And we might just jump back at it. Stephen Varga and Alan Dawson having a great battle, and looks like Steve's just been pushed off there by Dawson, allowing Ash Barella to go through on both of them. They might just have another look at that on the replay. Jump on the Supercheap Auto replay of that one. Yeah, got taken out fairly wide there. I think Harrison's had a redress as well, Tracy, yes. I think he redressed the position that he lost earlier. So Harrison now has worked his way back up into 18. He's up 2 spots. And we'll jump back to the live pictures, of course. Yeah, so Harrison and Matt Stewart now battling quite hard. So the 1-9 car. Of course, if you are watching at home, following along, let us know you're supporting. We'll try and give a cheer out for them and let you know how they're getting on. There's quite a few good little battles. Of course, this battle out now, Michael Whiting under all sorts of pressure from James Scott. James looking out wide, about to come on the inside. Getting the job done. And Ben Morris now having a look as well. So Michael Whiting under all sorts of pressure at the moment. Scott clears out. And we might just jump back. Andrew Dyson, of course, another one of the rear grid boys, is up 22 spots in 15th. He's hunting down Craig Schultz in front of him. Another cracking drive there. And Kenny Ladder, of course, he's now the man in the moment under pressure. Dave Kirby's had an incident. Might just have a quick look at what happened to Dave on the Supercheap Auto replay. A little bit of a lock up there. A little bit on the grass. And looks like we've had an issue with the car there, so not sure exactly. So he's got it back under control though. As we go back to live pictures. Brenton Hobson's the first man to blink. Hobbo's into the pits as well. So Adam Briggs is still running. our race leader. And we might just have a quick look at how James Chastaneef's going. James is up 5 spots in 11th. So Chasty, of course, leading the way for the Banter Alliance boys. We'll have a look through here. We'll jump up. James Scott's now up into 6th, of course. He's up 30 spots. Rear of grid. James, of course, a very highly motivated driver. Has achieved quite a fair bit in his time in iRacing in the V8s. Multiple winners of the AOSC series when that used to run on Friday nights. Multiple race winner in Scops, I believe. He's a extraordinary talent. Big pick-up by the Synergy Sim Racing boys at the start of this year as he walked away from the Altus team. Talking with team boss Jordan Ross, I think James has found a new lease of life and excitement again to drive, which is fantastic. As we continue on. Go a bit back. Michael Whiting's now under a fair bit of pressure. We're putting a fair bit of pressure, sorry, on Ben Morris. Great little battle pack forming up here. Going all the way back to Dave Coleman, another one of the fishy boys. Might just jump on the nose cam, have a bit of a look at the battle going on in front of him. All the track. Oh, bit of a tap in front. Robbins racing, both under control again. Ben Morris coming off the worst for wear there. Chasty almost getting his way through, side by side. This is great racing. Dave Coleman getting smart, getting out of the battle. As Chasty goes through on Morris. Damien Johnstone is into the pits now as well. They're starting to see a few of these boys pit. So is Barella and Tanik as well. They've both pitted. Great close quarter driving there. We might just jump back. Matt Stewart and Dengate. Dengate getting through. So Harrison now moves his way back up into 15th, up 5 spots. And Christian Smart in a great little battle here with Craig Schultz. As Cameron Jones now enters the pits. And as we said, Brendan Hobson was the first one to blink out of our leading bunch of drivers. So Hobson now is sitting back down in 19th. So Hobbo going for the undercut. So I'll be interested to see how that move pays off for him. Right behind teammate Stephen Varga. Of course, Dave Coleman, Ben Morris. These boys are still battling away. Paul Young now latching onto the back of this battling pack. And Andrew Dyson coming in hot behind them. Side by side, a little bit of a tap. Both keep their composure. So some good respectful side-by-side driving tonight. It's been fantastic to watch. Harrison Dengate into the pits as Dyson now comes into this battle. Dyson gets through. Sets his eyes now in front at Ben Morris after getting Coleman. Briggs, our race leader, has gone into the pits. We've got a car stopped on track, I think. Daryl Shannon, he's just about got it going again. Nice little flick spin there. Keeps it neat and tidy, stays out of the way of the car coming through. Of course, Adam Briggs, our race leader, in the pits. Jamie Dyke now assumes our race lead. Blake Delaney behind him and jumped on before Blake Delaney earlier. We could hear he was heavily fuel saving. So these boys doing reasonably well. Might just have a quick look at the pit numbers, see who's pitted and when. Out of our top 20. Out of the top 20, you can see that Briggs has pitted on this lap, on last lap on 24. Hobson went in on lap 19. Johnson on 21. Matt Stewart's gone in on 24. Cameron Jones went in on 22. So still quite a few boys that need to stop. Up in front as bring that one down. Let's have a quick look at the times that these boys pitted for as well. So I can bring up now. So Briggs, a little bit longer stop than Hobson as well. Went for 29 seconds. So another 5 seconds of fuel on there. Damien Johnson went a bit longer than Hobson as well. So Hobson definitely trying the undercut. Interesting to see how that's playing out for him. And of course, Hobson is now in 13th. And we've still got this great little battle going on between Coleman, Morris and Dyson as Blake Delaney and Michael Whiting now roll off into the pits. James Scott moves into P2. That's been a great drive then from James Scott. Fuel saving, obviously, coming through the field like he has. Awesome effort. Of course, one of the Bogan boys in front of him, Brad Doble, lapped down, so starting to get into a bit of traffic now as well, just to make things even more interesting for everybody. Michael Brennan, I think, might be involved in an incident. We'll have a look what's going on. No, he's got himself going again. And we've still got this great battle behind Chastity. Of course, teammate sitting behind him here, and Paul Young. Great drive from Paul. Regular on the vet scene. Of course, Chastity, one of our race controllers and vets as well. As Kenny Ladder and James Scott now peel off into the pits. It's been a great little fighting battle between these guys. Dyson now having a look at another one. Gets the job done. That moves Andrew Dyson up 34 spots now into third, but these boys, of course, still need to stop. Everyone else behind has stopped, of course. Adam Briggs fast closing in on Dave Coleman, the 6th and 7th behind us. We might jump on with our championship leader, Adam Briggs. Have a bit of a look what he can see in front of him. So you can see that pack we've just been watching battle. Two more peeling off into the pits. A very dominant drive. So race leader at the moment is Jamie Dyke, who is 13 seconds up the road from James Chastaneuf. And then James has Andrew Dyson sitting right behind him, trying to hunt him down. Dyson on a flyer here, started rear of grid, up 34 spots. These top four cars still yet to make a pit stop. Our on-track race leader is... Oh, very tight stuff going in here, side by side. Our on-track race leader, of course, is Adam Briggs, back in 5th. See Adams is starting to latch onto the back of this pack here with Dave Coleman. Great respectful side-by-side racing tonight. Watching some of the best V8 drivers in iRacing showing how it's done. As Jamie McKnight now runs into the pits as well. And Michael Brennan and Jamie Davis also jump into the pit lane as well. So it's now really only these lead four guys in front here, the ones to still make a stop, and Roy Clark. As Briggsy now moves in on Coleman. So our championship leader about to hunt down James Chastaneuf in front and Andrew Dyson. And definitely all over the back of Chasty here. Pressure tyres, of course. You should be looking for a good drive out of the final corner. Heading down. Getting a little bit of a slipstream here. Pulls out. And gets the job done. Great little overtake there from our championship leader, Adam Briggs. Gets past Chasty. Sets his sights up the road. Now, and of course, Andrew Dyson and Jamie Dyke have both pitted on that time by, which we missed. And my co-host Nathan Brown, I believe, is in the building, not far away. Probably all shouldn't be too far away now. I believe his computer's just booting up. So, of course, 30 laps of 74. Everyone's made their first compulsory pit stop. There's Dave Coleman now rolls in. And Chasty goes another lap. That's a pretty impressive drive from Chasty. As we might just go to the pit board. See, Chastity's done 30 laps on a tank. Coleman's done 29. Briggs, of course, in at 24. The interesting one a bit further down in third. Hobson, he went in at 19. Johnston split the difference and went in at 21. Jones at 22 and Delaney at 25. So there's a bit of a split strategy going on. So it'll be interesting to see how it pays out, of course. These boys have got to make 2 stops. And 2 stops, the second stop, the amount of fuel you put on, you've saved it. You save time. If you haven't saved it, you don't. How are you, Nato?
Hello, everyone. I'm good. How are you guys going?
Not too bad, mate. It's a cracking tail at the moment. Adam Briggs, our championship leader, absolutely dominating. Got away cleanly at the drop of the flag. Cleared out a little bit on Hobson and Johnston.
Yep. And
they've managed to fall back a little bit from him. Hobbo went for the undercut and less fuel in the tank. So it'll be interesting to see how that hurts him in the second stop. But we'll find out shortly, I imagine.
Yeah, so you reckon it's going to be a good old 2-stop race, this one, is it?
That's compulsory 2 stops. And, of course, James Chastaneef has now peeled off into the pits as well. So everyone now has made their first stop. Of course.
Looks like I've joined in at the right time for all the action to start winding on up again.
Definitely some very close, tight racing as we wait for these fuel stops to settle down a bit. So Harrison Dengate involved in a little bit of an incident earlier, circulating in 14th, doing reasonably well. Who else can we have a look at? Craig Schultz and Ben Morris from 9.5. These 2 boys both had a little bit of a tangle early on, but have managed to battle their way back into 16 and 17. Chastity now comes out of the pits in 18th. Stephen Varga got the side shove off the track again, but he's still circulating in 20th, so he's not doing too bad. We've got a car stopped on the track, just trying to work out who that is. Just bear with me. Car 33, that is Brad Doble. Looks like he's still going, still rolling. Not sure what's happened there. We might just have a look what happened. We'll go to the Supercheap Auto replay. He's just gone left instead of right. Nothing to see there. We'll move on.
Just a little bit of a whoopsie from the looks of that.
Yeah. Now soccer training, mate.
Yeah, it was it was quite good. It was it was nice and intense. It's the first time I've been getting. Sorry, I do apologise for my voice as well. It's with what I'm about to say, it's the first time I've been back in the goals since the good old Pinky evacuate stage left incident has happened. So I've been quite nervous getting back into it, but it's been a lot of fun getting back into the swing of things, and feels like home being back in there. But no, it's been good. Just the body was reminding me that sometimes I know I'm still a relatively young fella, but I'm not in my late teens / early 20s anymore. So I kind of get it when people say that you don't quite pull up the same as what you used to. So it's been quite entertaining from that point of view. But overall, it's been going good.
That's all right, mate. We've just got an incident, a couple of incidents going on. Looks like the 1.9 car has been tapped by the 9.5 car, and Ash Barella has been involved in something as well. Which I think with Jason Schuller might be involved. He gets hot under the brakes. Ash comes up the inside, drifts out, drifts in.
Ooh, that's unfortunate for both boys there.
Synchronised spinning as well. And I might leave that one for the stewards.
Yeah,
have fun, Josh.
Yeah, I haven't got anything else to add except for good luck.
And of course, Matt Scholler, of course, under pressure here from Stephen Varga. So Varga's doing really well tonight. He's up into 18th again. But we might just jump back on with our championship leader, Adam Briggs, with a bit of a recap. So Briggsy went deeper on his first stop than Hobson. Hobson tried the undercut, but he's still 5 seconds behind Briggs, who's now 1.7 seconds is clear of Johnston. Cameron Jones is a further 9 seconds back. Blake Delaney is 6 seconds back from that, under pressure from James Scott. James Scott, of course, was a rear of grid starter. He's up 30 spots into 6th. Cracking effort from James.
Standard, I was going to say standard procedure there. It's what we're becoming used to.
And we've got another car stopped on track. I'm just trying to work out what's going on. It's Jason Scholler, I think. Still rolling. It looks like he might be parked. Well, are we going into a safety car? We haven't had one yet tonight.
Yeah, it's the beaches are made for making sandcastles, not the sand trap out there.
Blake Delaney's dived into the pits. I'm just gonna keep an eye on a few things. It's got the comms on, so we'll hear anything if it's going to happen. And not sure on the fuel count, but I think the boys had gotten 30 laps, so I reckon you could get home from here, just about.
Yeah, surely it'd be cutting it close. I don't actually have any statistics on this track. Can't say it's one that I've ever been to myself, so it's I'm learning on the fly a little bit here too.
No, better to be learning. And of course, the big talking point of the night was Blake Warboys not being fit enough to race. How is the patient?
I'm actually not too sure, to be honest, because I've done the good old got home, turned on the computer and jumped straight into here, but all the other lights are out in the house, so hopefully he's all good and well and he'll be back to normal Blake soon enough.
Not much fun.
So, and also hopefully being his housemate, he keeps it to himself as well. If it's knocking him about, I don't really want any of that. Hopefully he's all good and back into it soon enough.
Yeah. And of course, big night tomorrow night with the Pro Series. Hopefully he's fit enough for that as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm certainly not good enough to even try and do a little bit of a chop out for him and take his spot there, so I'm not even going to try and stick my hand up for that one.
Definitely wouldn't be doing that one. Stefan Lawrence here from Right Sim Racing. He's putting a bit of pressure on Ben Morris in front of him. And we might just have a quick look at Dave Coleman from Fishy Motorsports. He had an incident as well. Supercheap auto replay. Coming down into turn 1. Looks like all by himself. A little bit wide. A little bit too keen on the gas. Smokes him up. There's a few incidents on lap 1, of course. So a few people caught up, like Jamie McKnight and the likes of that. So apart from that, we've seen some good side-by-side racing for most of it. There's might jump back to 17th spot, and Hayden Norris up 13. Another one of the Wright boys. And we've got a great little battle pack behind this, back in 21st with Stefan Lawrence. And behind Stefan Lawrence, we've got Matt Stewart from 1-9. So these boys all staying in touch with each other. Alan Dawson and the man of the moment we talked about a minute ago, Jamie McKnight, starting to catch up to the back of this group.
I wonder if he's going for all pace or if he's doing his good old fuel-saving game at the same time.
I reckon he's doing the fuel-saving game. We might just have a look when he did pit lap. Nice. Young Jamie McKnight pitted on lap 28, so he went a bit further than everybody else around him here. So being a two-stopper, the big payoff will be in the next stage of the race. Next stops. Briggsy, definitely the form driver of the series at the moment.
Yeah, he seems to be finding some good pace here, he is. Always up near that pointy end.
Absolutely. Hobart a further 6 seconds behind. Lap traffic as well now starting to become a bit of an issue as he moves his way up through 27th to 26th. Such a short lap time of 1:19 around this place.
You took the next little bit out of my mouth there. It's it's a very, very tight and well, not tight. It's a very short track here, though. It looks like there could be plenty of opportunities, though. It looks like a, dare I say, it almost looks like a different version of like a Phillip Island style track.
Just about is a little bit. Of course, originally built as a motorsport mecca in Japan. Built to incorporate the IndyCar series. He made multiple stops here back in the kart days and then IndyCar days on the circuit. So we actually have a oval, banked oval circuit, which the guy Briggs is about to go under. And then we're running the East Circuit tonight, so not running the full road circuit. So that's where it gets the name Twin Ring, because you've got the road circuit and the oval circuit.
That's certainly a fun fact for the evening there.
Yep, absolutely. And you missed last week, mate. I had all the good fun facts about Belle Isle. I had them all lined up for you.
I was actually quite keen on coming along next week, but the good old health and the good old body getting back into this old soccery thing, I reckon that's what triggered the good old migraine, which was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Stream was still good though, as always.
So, quick recap where Harrison Dengate is up 8 spots now into 12th, putting all sorts of pressure on Christian Smart in front of him here. So the wise old veteran in Christian in front, and the young whippersnapper and Harrison behind. Master and the apprentice.
So this is reminding me a lot of season 1 right about now, isn't it, Johnny?
It is. It is. Harrison locking up.
Memory lane.
Well, still 34 laps to go.
I wonder how both boys are approaching the situation, because certainly not the first time we've seen Christian looking in his mirrors and saying young Harrison all over him. I wonder if Christian's still got a few tricks up his sleeve that he hasn't shown young H yet, or if H has learned a thing or two that's going to catch Christian off guard.
Well, I reckon Christian would be the wily old fox. He'd be doing a bit of fuel saving.
No, if these two are this close in the last stint, fuel isn't an issue. I reckon it could be on for young and old here, pardon the pun, but
Absolutely.
it'll be on between these two.
Absolutely. And we might quickly have a bit look further back as well at Matty Whitaker. And Matty Whitaker is doing quite well. He's up 3 spots in 25th. We'll jump on with Alan Dawson as well. And while I do that, I'll get rid of the spam. I think it's cheaper than Tinder, Nathan.
I just looked over and saw that as well. I don't know how you can get cheaper than Tinder when Tinder's free.
Exactly.
Unless they're paying you to be there.
So, of course, Alan Dawson here is hunting down Matty Stewart, Stefan Lawrence. Another one of the right boys. He's hunting down Stephen Varga. So Vargas' car there looking a bit ordinary on the front right.
It looks like it's had a little bit of a on-the-fly panel beating, shall we say?
Well, let's just say this time last week he was my co-commentator. That was
Another interesting race for Mr. Vargas, was it?
And that was after he'd walked away and cooled down. But he's doing well tonight. Of course, another man who has won a season of vets, showing what he can do against these young whippersnappers. as Stephen Lawrence now has a look up the inside. Vargs. It's a great track for allowing a lot of side-by-side racing, which has been really impressive as well.
Yeah, in the short time that I've been here, it's it looks like there's more than one way that you can approach most of these corners too. And yeah, that little segment just through there, watching the boys go side by side quite comfortably. It seems like it's there could be some good racing towards the end of this race if they're all nice and close.
Absolutely. And Ben Morris has had another off. We might just have a quick look on the Supercheap Auto replay. He's all by himself again. That's a fairly big lockup. Not sure what's happened there. As we go back to the live picks. And look for another battle pack in front. We might jump on with Jamie McKnight back in 23rd. He's latched onto the back of this group here with Vargs. And doing reasonably well.
So is that Mr. Barella behind him as well?
Lap down.
Bother.
Mr. Borello did some, oh, you joined me, did some tandem spinning. Which, based off the fact he's done 2 stops, I'd say he got a little bit of a drive.
Yep.
Should jump down in the race control and ask Josh Drage whether he was laughing or not.
I have the power to do that, I think.
Of course, our regular chief steward, Seb, got some wisdom teeth pulled out tonight, so today, sorry. So I hope you feel better soon, Seb. And
yeah, hopefully the recovery is going well. That's doesn't sound like too much fun there.
No, I don't think it would be. So rest up, buddy. We'll see you back next week.
No, we'll try not to make you laugh too much tonight, I promise.
And we'll just jump up, have a look at Paul Young, as Stephen Varga and Ben Morris have both pitted. Paul Young, of course, the Bencher Alliance racing driver. Home of the one and only Dave Baldock. So if you're watching, Dave, good evening, mate.
Hello, Dave. Long time no chat. Callan, throw in a comment there. You know you want to if you're right there.
And Paul Young, of course, under a bit of pressure here from Jamie Dyke behind. So Jamie, another one of the boys in the Logitech G Supercar Pro Series tomorrow night. So make sure you jump on and watch that. That's set to be an absolute cracker. Had the privilege of having a look at the intro on Saturday night that they're using for it. And yeah, it's going to be an absolute cracking race again, I think.
Yeah, it always provides good racing there at the Red Bull Ring. Not that it's been on iRacing for that long, but it's been on there for long enough for all of us to know it's going to be some very tight racing out there, I reckon.
Oh, absolutely. A big long run after turn 1 up the hill creates some very good opportunity to get into slipstream, some very good opportunity to get some passing. As we jump on with Cameron Jones now, who's starting to get caught up by James Scott. So Scott is in 5th, Dyson is in 6th. They're both up 31 spots behind. You can see Dyson there just dropping into the bottom of the picture. So 2 cracking drives from these guys.
I wonder how, looking at how flowing this track is and how much loading must be on those tyres and how much turning they're actually doing. I wonder how tyre wear is going for a lot of them. I wonder if they've all got pretty good setups and it's relatively even the whole way through, or I wonder if those tyres are going to be screaming at the end of a stint.
Yeah, it's a tough one. A few chats I had with a few of the boys earlier. I think you needed a setup where you could really adjust the bars to look after them. It's a tough track in that sense. As
A lot of them would be having a very soft kind of setup.
well, Brenton
Be
Hobson.
my very uneducated guess.
Brenton Hobson now is being caught by Damien Johnstone. Damien's now only less than a second behind. Of course, Hobbo going longer on this first stint than Damien. It'll be very interesting to see how this pans out. So far, we've not had a safety car. 46 laps out of 74.
Wow, that's a, dare I say it, are we going to go green the whole way through?
Big turn up for the books after last week's. I think we had, between the two races, I think we had 5 safety cars.
Wow. Although street circuit, especially like Detroit, I'm not surprised to hear that it was a higher number than normal. Not much room around there, and it's a very, very bumpy place.
Oh, absolutely. Very dominant performance from Synergy Sim Racing tonight, holding out the top 4 spots at the moment. And Cameron Jones now has been passed by James Scott. So James Scott's next target now is his teammate Damien Johnston, 13.5 seconds up the road. But we shouldn't be too far away now, I think, from our next round of pit stops. So that could change the game a little bit for everybody as well.
Okay, if you're someone like a, here you go, here's a question for you. If you're someone like a, I'm going to pick on 2 people here. If you're a Brenton Hobson or a James Scott, you're Hobbo, you're up near the front, you had a slightly different strategy to the others. What do you do going in the final stop? And then when you're someone like a James Scott who's still got a decent chunk of time ahead, if you're in his position, what do you do there, Johnny?
If I was James, I'd be probably looking for track position, looking where the traffic is, because that's going to slow you down that little bit. I'd be fuel saving as well, as much as I can, knowing that Hobbo's probably got a longer stop for the second one. That's probably what I'd be thinking. And then if I was Hobbo, yeah, I'd be trying to run this stint as long as I could, knowing I'd done the undercut, so I'd have to make the most out of fuel saving on this stint. And yeah, hopefully keep a little bit of time up my sleeve so I don't have to sit in the pits too long and let everybody past. Of course, Hobbo stopped on lap 19. James Scott stopped on lap 26, so...
Oh, big difference there.
Big difference there.
What are we now? We're at about a 14 second gap between those 2 boys, Hobbo and
Yep, 13 seconds, yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see how this next stop pans out and how close that is in the end.
And as you speak, Hobbo has just peeled off into the pits.
Ooh. You must be listening into the stream. Going, nah, that's not right, boys. Watch this.
Definitely wouldn't be taking advice from me.
We're somewhat experts at guessing and watching what happens afterwards. Put us in that position and it's completely different though.
The armchair warrior.
Everyone's a great coach from the sideline.
But dominant performance here from Briggsy at the moment. He's definitely 10 seconds clear of Damien Johnston. James Scott, of course, moves into the podium, up 33 spots. Cameron Jones with a good drive in 4th. Andrew Dyson up 32 spots as the 5th. Driver of the night so far for me, Paul Young, who's up 11 spots in 6th. Qualified well. He's had a really good cracking run here tonight. Under a bit of pressure from Jamie Dyke from behind though at the moment. Of course, if you're watching at home, let us know who you're supporting. Let us know who you think is going to fill out 2nd, 3rd and 4th. As we have 24 laps to go.
There could be a possible upset for the lead. I don't think so though, watching Mr. Briggs here. He's very, very much on top of things there at the moment. But as we know, anything's possible with racing.
So Hobbo straight out in traffic, getting past Michael Whiting. Harrison Dengate still sitting behind Christian Smart as well. So nothing's changed there in the last 5 or 6 laps.
I reckon young H might be switched on here and saving a bit of that fuel.
Definitely. Hobbo, of course, just done a pink sector for Sector 2.
Ooh, this is getting real interesting now.
Of course, got Kenny Ladder in front of him, his teammate. Jamie Dyke definitely charging through these boys quite well too. Down up at the back of Paul Young still. And Pete Kelleher, my season 11 mate from Vets. Give a big cheerio to the Synergy Sim Racing boys. Boys are doing really well tonight. I think Pete's now running split 2, so I think they've coached him pretty well too. And a couple of good races against Pete last season. And James Scott's peeled off early to the pits, so James Scott's in now as well. And Michael Whiting.
I wonder if they noticed how much pace
Hobbo had,
yeah, how much pace Hobbo had, and if they're reacting to that, or if they were just sitting to their own strategy and hoping that pays off too.
Hobbo about to put the move on Kenny Ladder here.
Ken's holding his own though.
Nice side-by-side racing again.
Plenty of racing room from both boys there. Fantastic to see.
What's the number 1 rule, Ash? Barella learnt last week. Don't take out your teammate.
I did see a bit of banter in our group chat over that. Looks like it was quite amusing.
I think the boys last week did everything but the pace car.
No, nothing like putting that WK&P sign writing all over those concrete walls.
Yeah.
Just helping get the brand out, that's all they were doing.
And Damien Johnston now peels off into the pits. So they're all starting to go one by one.
The big question here, when is Mr. Adam Briggs going to pull in?
Of course, these guys here battling. You'd be wondering whether Dyke and Young are slowing up Hobson. As Damien Johnston comes out behind this battle, he's out behind Hobson, so Hobson doing reasonably well out of that. And James Scott also still trying to latch onto the back of this battle pack. And a slow-moving car on track. Not sure who that is. I think it's Matthew Scholes. Looks like he's got himself going again, no?
So wouldn't this be interesting right about now if a safety car came out now on next lap?
Oh, bit of smoke there in the background. Dyson getting himself through on ladder there, on Jamie Dyke there. There's Cameron Jones and Dyson now peel off to pit. Briggs still going out in front. I suppose he's got all the time in the world. Save fuel. And apparently so far we're up to 21 post-race penalties.
Wow.
So I haven't seen all those. I haven't seen that many. I've seen a few, but there's a couple on the first lap.
Yeah, my race control are all over it though, so they must be seeing a lot more eyes in there as well though.
Well, we keep
That always
seeing
helps out.
Drage pop up, so this Josh should be all over it.
He's just want to have a good
There's-
old chin wag with the boys.
Briggsy's peeled off.
Here we go,
Here
now's
we
when it's
go.
getting interesting.
Briggsy's peeled off. Hobson's the man in P2. He's managed to stay in front of Paul Young. Warren Davis has had a crash with someone else. I think it might be Alan Dawson. We'll go back and have a look at that one in a second. We'll just wait and see how Briggsy peels out here, whether he gets out in front of Hobson. Hobson rolling out of the back part of the circuit. Briggs is off the jacks. Briggs still half a straight in front. Coming out.
That'll be interesting to see how that traffic goes with him.
Absolutely. And we might just
Not worrying him at all.
might just quickly roll back and have a look at that Warren Davis incident.
Yep.
On the Supercheap Auto replay. So Davis, Warren, Davis, 007. The Banner Alliance boys. Bit of a dive there from the right, guys. Leave that one up for Josh. And we'll
Yeah,
go.
it's going to be another interesting one for him.
Absolutely. We'll just quickly flick back to live. So, we're still waiting for Paul Young, Jamie Dyke to have their stop. Craig Schultz and Jamie McKnight are in for their second. There's still a few to roll out here.
Just shows the pace that Adam Briggs had throughout there, because I was keeping an eye on that sort of time frame beforehand, and even though Hobbo pitted earlier again compared to Briggsy, Briggs has managed to pull a little bit of a gap, like extend that gap a little bit on Hobbo.
Absolutely.
It's a great effort considering that Hobbo was on the fresh tyres and pushing very, very hard. It just shows what pace that Adam's got at the moment.
Oh, absolutely. As Jamie Dyke and Paul Young peel off to pit. So it would have been very interesting to see what James Scott and Adam Briggs would have done if Scotty had qualified. But in saying that, it's a cracking drive from rear grid to be up 32 spots in fourth.
Yeah, now he's only, 3-4 seconds behind Damien Johnston, so he's reeled in that gap, so it'll be very, very interesting to see where he ends up.
Well, podium is definitely not out of the question, because that gap's closing. And you see, no, Damien's only a second from Hobbo. And traffic definitely going to be a factor as these two boys fighting in front of him here, in front of Hobbo.
Yeah, I'm sure Hobbo's going to not waste any time in wanting to get ahead of them.
Absolutely. How quickly can Damien work his way through here? Comes up on Peter Pavlich. No, and Peter, of course, battling with Alan Dawson in front of him. Nicely rolls off to the side.
Very well done by the lap cars there. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Still racing hard, but giving those quick boys a little bit of room when they need it.
And then Chastity rolls out of the pits now. And we might just have a look. Out the rear. A little bit loose from Pavlich. You can see the back of the straight there. James Scott coming like a missile. He's already closed the gap by a second. As Pavlich peels off to the pits.
You know, the other battle that I'm really curious to see how it keeps panning out as well.
Which one's that?
Now have Mr. Christian Smart and young Harrison Dengate made their final stops?
Yes, they have, and Harrison Dengate's out. He's still behind him.
There's a little bit of a gap there now.
A little bit. So
If Christian's putting the pedal to the metal and H is trying to get there, or if there was something that happened in those pit stops.
of course, Paul Young's joined the back of this battle as well. So these boys having a bit of a tussle. Still a long way to go, of course. We're only lap 57 to 74. As Hollow now, that gap's closed even more. Damien Johnson definitely having a good look here. James Scott definitely charging in now. That gap's now down to 2.1 seconds.
It's getting very, very narrow. I mean, how long until those elbows start coming in and a bit more of a defensive line starts popping up?
And Alan Dawson getting out of the way this time.
Mr. Race Control himself. How's it going in there?
Yeah. There'll be 21 post-race penalties and counting.
Wow.
I'm surprised you got time to talk to us, Josh.
Other than that, everyone's been really good. But, yeah, we found out about the pit lane cutting, and 50% of the field have done it. There's one driver who has done it twice.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There you go. It looks like we've got someone stopped. No, they've got themselves going again. Big shout out to Jordan Ross, the Synergy Sim Racing boss, sitting out tonight, not racing. Saving himself for tomorrow night, I think, for the Pro Series. And be sure to be quite happy. Would just make him happy with the fact that he's got Adam Briggs 16 seconds up the road from Brenton Hobson here. He's under a lot of pressure from Damien Johnstone. James Scott having a cracker up 32 spots from rear of grid into fourth. He's only 1.7 seconds now behind Johnston. Cameron Jones from Century Motorsport in fifth. Dyson sixth. Delaney, and I think the next Synergy boy in the top 10 is Kenny Latta. So great performance from your boys tonight, Jordan. Quality and class, particularly from Adam and Hobbo. And Damien as well, and James getting through the boys. Getting through the field, sorry. Catch up to the boys. And there's some good battles around the track as well. Might just quickly jump back and have a look at Jamie Davis. Jamie Davis here under a bit of pressure from Michael Brennan. So this is a battle back for 25th, 26th, but good to see these boys still pushing just as hard. And another battle pack. We'll move up the forward a little bit. Stephen Lawrence and Matthew Scholes. Matthew Scholes being hunted down by Ben Morris, who's 7 seconds behind. And Dave Coleman from Fishy as well. He's got a bit of a battle around him. He's managing to stay in front of one of the other Riot boys. Christian Smart now starting to get a little bit of pressure from Harrison Dengate behind him.
Yeah, it's I'm very excited to see what'll happen if H gets nice and close here.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be interesting. Keep an eye on that. And we go back up the front. Damien Johnstone is still applying the pressure onto Hobson. That gap behind now is 1.4 seconds. So it's closing in.
Ooh. I reckon that could be a good little, if the rate that these boys are catching up, there's only going to be 5 to 10 laps to go by the time they all punch up and get close together. It could be on for young and old for the final podium spots here.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, our championship leader having showing the class and having a drive of the night, really. 16, nearly 17 seconds ahead of all these boys.
Yeah, it's certainly nothing to sneeze at.
No, definitely nothing to sneeze at. The gap with Dengate, that's now getting down to half a second, so definitely keep an eye on that one as well. So H battling away quite hard there, closing that gap very quickly. A bit loose coming out of the corner there. Keep an eye on that gap up the front as well. So he might jump back up to the front. As James Scott now is only 1.1 seconds behind Johnston. So these boys starting to close the gap.
Yeah, the fuel saving game isn't, well, you would imagine it's not going to be much of a contributing factor anymore. So now we're going to see how much race smarts and race craft these boys have, which is a lot.
Of course, all three of them very quality, distinguished V8 drivers. All been around for a while. All performed quite highly in Scops and AOSC.
The other man that's making his way back up too is to Jamie McKnight, up in the 16th place at the moment. After a little incident you were saying he had earlier.
So on Jamie McKnight, yep, back in the 16th. Good try from Jamie. And all three boys now have all bunched this right up. As we jump on with James Scott, you can see the equation in front of him. Third and second, there for the taking.
That is definition of the carrot is dangled right in front of you, that is.
Fresh air in front of Brenton Hobson, 1.1 seconds. To get there, Damien Johnston and Hobson.
You say 1.1 seconds, it sounds like a piece of cake. You say those other two names, that cake is gone. Now, with this long to go, here's another question for you. When do you start planning your attack? Do you start planning your attack now to try and get ahead and then put the elbows up? Or do you wait until it gets closer to the end, then start pushing extremely hard to try and...
Oh, if you're James and you got the pace, you just go, don't you?
That's it. That's where my mind's going. If you reckon that you can hold them off, but then if you use up your tyres, say do a good enough defensive battle, then you could expose yourself at the same time too. So,
well, the other side of the equation you got, of course, as well is you got lap traffic that's going to come into play. Boys fastly closing up on 3 cars in front of them here.
It's a very valid point, that is, because they're still running their own race.
That's right. I think we're about to bunch up on Ben Morris, Matthew Scholes and Stefan Lawrence. One of them peels out of the way. I'm sure McNamara saying you get the time down as quick as possible. I'd have to agree with you there, Sean. Yeah, got a stopped car. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's Alan Dawson. Looks like he's got it going again.
I was about to throw out those dirty SCs, safety car word then.
Oh, wouldn't that be turn up for the books?
Yeah, that would really, if we get a safety car now, you're gonna have to hit that big red button.
Oh yeah, that'd be the first one we'd go to. Hit that before I hit the yellow flag button, I think. And James Scott, this is Adam Briggs looking at it at the moment. He's comfortable 18 seconds up the road here. He's loving this. And of course, James Scott now has latched onto the back. Johnston and definitely know he's there. A little bit of air to Briggs still. Sorry, to Hobbo still.
Yeah, all Briggsy needs to do is just keep it on the track, and he's just about got it home and hosed.
But he's got to get past lap traffic. He's got to deal with that neatly still. Tucked up right behind there.
He's catching sort of a big bunch of them, isn't he?
Hmm.
Sort of very evenly staggered out in front of him.
Hobbo's pulled out
the
the
ahead of this batch.
yeah, Hobbo's pulled out the 1.4. So Hobbo's managed to get a little bit of distance now. So Johnston fighting with Scott, allowing a little bit of breathing air. And let's have a quick look back as well. The other battle we'll be watching tonight, which is Dengate and Smart. So that's still a very tight contest of 0.45 of a second. So what would H do? Keep an eye on that one. And Blake Delaney is bunched up on his teammate, Jamie Dyke, in front. Team boss Michael Whiting behind. So dare I say it, we've got the sushi train.
Now we feel like at home again. Sushi chain in a row.
So great drive here from Michael as well. Up 2 spots into the top 10. With Dyke down 2 and Delaney down 4 to be in 8th. Christian Smart's gone off track. Let's have a look what happened there. Been watching this Supercheap Auto replay. Just in a little bit hot with a car in front of him there. And that's allowed Dengate through. Hot again. So, not sure what's going on with Christian. Pose himself and get himself going again as we go back to live pictures. And we'll jump back up, have a quick look at the battles. Highways 1.2 seconds. And we've got 0.8 of a second behind. Sorry, 0.5 of a second behind. So you got to ask the question, was the pressure from Harrison on Christian that caused the error?
Yeah, that's going to be the real interesting question right there. If we have a chance to chat to Mr. Christian at all, but it'll certainly very relentless at pressure from young H there. So now that it's the other way around, I wonder how much time will H be able to clear out from him, or will Christian? Although looking at the times here, Mr. Paul Young's got in between Harrison and Christian at the moment, so could almost become a little three-way battle if those guys get nice and close.
That's right, and don't rule out Paul as well. Look, we know he's capable of, a wily old driver that he is.
A few tricks up his sleeve he does.
Definitely does. And Dave Coleman's been off. We might have a quick look what happened to the fishy driver. Supercheap auto replay. Looks like he's come in a little bit hot as well. I think fatigue's... Oh, he's clipped the right car. That's Hayden Norris. I think he's clipped as well. Hayden doing a beautiful recovery.
Oh, that's no good for his racing, but that looked very impressive. That did.
As we go back to live pictures here. So Hobbo's still cleared out a bit. Yeah. James Scott definitely having a good look. And of course we're on lap 69 to 74, so 5 to go.
Yeah, not that long to go at all.
Working the wheel.
Yeah, he's at that very awkward distance away, isn't he? He's not quite close enough for striking distance, but one little mistake from Damien and James will be in there before you know it.
Of course, being your teammate as well, and being the new guy on the team even more, definitely don't want to be that guy that takes out your teammate.
Although for us watching, if these boys could go to town on it, that would be great.
Of course, looking at 0.4, 0.3 of a second here between these two. Yes, jump onto the nose cam. Not much in it now.
No.
How's a look? Here we go.
That's man, now we're rallying up. Now the mind games are starting to become a big factor in this.
And of course, in the meantime, Adam Briggs has cleared out to 20 seconds.
That is a very, very solid effort, that is.
Not wrong.
Although I know I haven't been here all night, but I have a couple of fun facts here for you, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Positions on the track of number 3, as in 3rd place, 4th place, 5th place, and 6th place, all have post-race penalties.
Ouch! Didn't know that one.
Yeah, right. Race control is still trying to figure a few things out there. So that'll be very interesting to see how that all pans itself out in the end. But yeah, so out of all those 21 post-race penalties that Joshy was talking about, those are 4 of them.
Dangate's doing all right. Yeah, no, that sounds quite interesting.
So yeah, there's a little bit of an insight to what race control have been up to. So although that is only 4 out of the other 21.
Oh, we've seen a few. Blake Delaney here under all sorts of pressure from Kenny Ladder. This is the battle for 8th and 9th. Or 9th and 10th, sorry. Kenny getting the job done.
Blake thought about the crisscross
Damien Johnson
there, but didn't quite get the run.
The Damien Johnson gap had just closed right down now. We're now down to 0.2 to 0.1 of a second, so expecting James Scott to pounce anytime soon.
You know, the man that would be loving watching them battle in his mirrors would be Hobbo.
Yeah. Another fake. Have a look. Yes, I'm here. As we go on to lap 72 now of 74, so not long to go. Of course, we've got to start thinking of the drive of the day. I know the old hard chargers usually get a good look in. Looking at Damien, want to go back to James. That's a better view. So, of course, Scott and Dyson were both rear grid starters. Both have done very well to work their way through. The other bloke who's doing really well tonight is Stefan Lawrence in 18th. He's up 16 spots. He was the second last qualifier. So that's a cracking drive in itself. Oh, tap. No.
Oh dear,
What was the golden
dear.
rule? End of the fence, both of them.
Oh dear.
What was the golden rule?
Oh dear.
What was the golden rule?
The golden rule is don't hit your teammate. However, that has created some very interesting viewing for all of us.
Both in the fence as well. Both get going. Cars going past, cars sideways, both safely rejoin. And we might just go back to live pictures. So James Scott still in fourth. But he's now second and nearly 2 seconds behind. Hobson's cleared out to 9 seconds ahead of Johnson. And that really answers the question. As we're on lap 73 of 74, the penultimate lap.
Yeah, it's that was nearly a very, very interesting end to the night for the both of them, but it's good that they're both still going though.
Yeah, haven't lost anything. Cameron Jones is still 7.8 seconds behind. Might just jump on with Christian Smart, Paul Young. There's a bit of a battle here as Youngie's hunting down Dengate in front of him. So this will be a tight little finish for the last two laps. As Adam Briggs takes the white flag.
And now a very, very convincing 20-second lead.
Very. And Dengate getting past there by Smart, letting a bit loose. Paul Young now under pressure as well. Harrison absolutely losing everything. Okay.
Oh, he's gone full loopy there.
Full loopy. And might just jump back up. So Brent Hobson's 9 seconds or 20 seconds behind, 9 seconds back to Johnston, still 2 seconds back to Scott, still 7 seconds back to Jones. Dominant performance by Synergy Sim Racing tonight. As we're looking at one of their other combatants back in 12th with Christian Smart. What we might do is we might jump on with Adam Briggs. Absolute dominant performance tonight. Got away, took pole position, basically led all the way. It's been a whole green flag race and he's done it quite convincingly. Congratulations to Adam Briggs, our championship leader, on
Great
taking the
stuff,
bullet.
Mr. Briggs.
Got to be happy with that. As we now look further back into P2. And coming up in second, another stellar drive from Brenton Hobson. Well done, Hobbo. Kept out of trouble. Surviving all the other dramas. Almost taken out by his teammate. Manages to get it over the line in third. Damien Johnson rounds out the podium. James Scott comes in fourth. Fifth will be Cameron Jones. Sixth at this stage will be Andrew Dyson, up 31 spots. Great drive from Andrew. And Jamie Dyke, Michael Whiting, and Kenny Ladder in 9th, rounding out our top 10. We have Blake Delaney, Paul Young. He's going to manage to hold out the fast finishing Christian Smart. Chastity Hame in 13th. Dengate in 14th. Craig Schultz in 15th. And 17th is Matt Stewart. 18th is Stephen Lawrence, up 16 spots. Hayden Norris is 19th. Dave Coleman rounds out the top 20. So it's been a cracking drive by quite a few boys tonight. And interesting to see what these boys have to say for themselves when they come and talk to us.
Yeah, I'm very, very curious to see how this next little segment's going to go.
And I reckon our drive of the night, Stephen Lawrence. Like I said, the other boys, easy pickings coming up from the rear. No offence, it's not easy, I know. But it's good to see. Good to see Blake's qualified near the last. He's up 16 spots. He's done quite well. He should be quite happy with himself. And we'll put that one off to Josh and see if he comes and talks to us a little bit later. And just wait for the boys to come join us in the green room. But cracking performance from the guys. We might just have a quick look again and see if we can see the incident that happened at the start. We kind of missed some of it, so I might just sort of go back about here as we jump onto the Chop of the Supercheap Auto replay as we wait for the boys to come in.
Oh, 4 wide at one point.
We might just try and go a bit further. We might just try and go a bit further back and start again on the chopper view. 4 wide, definitely nowhere to go.
Oh, so many cars so close. You don't know where to look there. All of them did a very, it looks like that could have been a lot worse than what it was though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolute carnage in the middle of all that. These boys a bit further down the back, nicely tapping their way. But the man of the hour, Adam Briggs, another cracking drive. I'm sure the Synergy boss, Jordan Ross, would have to be quite happy with that one. And with Blake Warboys not being here tonight because of illness, it's definitely going to give him a very commanding position in the championship as well.
Yeah, it's certainly going to have a lot of a confidence booster for you as well, knowing that the championship isn't quite something that you need to worry about. I'm sure it's going to be a huge pressure relief for him as well, so you can just concentrate on the race, on the night, and away you go.
Let's bring the man in and have a chat. Adam, well done, mate. What a dominant performance.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I guess I just like Montegi. I mean, I always sort of half like the track, but it's
Well, we only half did the track this week, so
yeah, that's right. But it's turning out to be a really good track for me. So yeah, no, other people built the sets, so I got to give credit to James and Wayne Burke and Tom Freer, who did a fair bit of work on sets for another series this week.
Yep.
And it transferred really well to this track, to the half track as well.
No,
so yeah, got to give those guys some credit.
Yeah, it sort of worked out well being after Scops, didn't it?
Yeah, if only it was the same layout for both, it would be even better. But oh well, it is what it is.
I think we had to do it a little bit different just to make it a bit more interesting. Of course, Hobbo and Damien Johnson and James, you mentioned, up 32 spots into 4th, starting from rear of grid, was a fair crack.
Yeah, James probably. I'm just looking at the lap times now. It would have been a really tight race. He may have even got me if he started at a comparable pit lane position. So up 32 places is ridiculously good. So yeah, James is an absolute weapon of a driver. So yeah, that's how you do that sort of stuff.
And anyone you want to give a shout out to, mate?
Yeah, all the guys at SSR. You know, they really help out it's a really good team atmosphere, and obviously the guys in the car like Smith and Sons and Wave Runner and JK Signs, Posse's Mechanical, Smith and Sons as well, and there's a few others, Dave Oliver Photo as well. They really help us out each and every week, and they make the car look good too, so which is fantastic.
Fair enough. And you had Pete Kelleher and JR all cheering you on in the chat too tonight as well. So well done, mate.
Fantastic. Yeah, good team.
Yeah. And we might bring in our third place getter, Damien Johnston. Damien, P3, mate. Well done.
Congrats on the podium.
Yeah, cheers, boys. It was a bloody intense race with the teammates all night. I haven't spoken to James yet, but I think we'll have a bit of a laugh about that one.
Well, he timed it to perfection because we were on board with the nose cam at the time.
Oh, he definitely had the nose in there.
Oh, yeah, it was well in there. And you both hit the guardrail, and I thought, oh, no, you're both going to be absolutely stuffed, but you managed to sort of both bounce and keep going. So you're quite lucky in that sense.
Yeah, I think once we made contact, he definitely tried to help straighten me up. And then I was quickly looking at the relative to see, obviously, how much time we had, but we got away with that one. But he's such a weapon, like, from the back of the grid, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, apparently there's 21 post-race penalties going to be applied, so got no idea where they all are. We saw quite a few of them. We sort of went back and looked at the start where the midfield were 4 or 5 wide going into turn 1.
Yeah, I hope most of them are incidents. If they're the pit lane, because I definitely, like, put my hand up, I'd definitely cut it. But we asked the question at the start of the season, and we said we could. So you can't penalise us now. So definitely, if I get penalised, I have a bit to say about that one. But
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Fair enough.
There'll be about 20 odd. I think there'll be about 20 odd blokes that'll probably put their hand up to say, "Hey, we asked that question before Winton." So yeah. Anyway,
Just like to add, I'm not sure if this is a new guy in race control tonight, so he might not know. But
yeah,
anyway, we'll see what happens.
See what happens there. Yep. Definitely have a talk about that one anyway. I'm sure the boys will sort that out. And anyone you want to give a shout out to, Damien?
Yeah, all the boys. Most of our sponsors, Wave Runner, Neilons, you know, everyone. So it's been we're getting better and better each week now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely getting better and better each week. And speaking of each week, next week, we're off to, I don't think we've got Hobbo coming in tonight, or Stefan Lawrence, so we'll keep going. So next week, we're bouncing off to Oran Park for Super Sprints. Thoughts, boys?
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Nowhere to pass, so quality is going to be key there.
Absolutely. And then 2 races of it as well. Yeah, so I'm interested to see how that one all pans out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Damien. It's all going to be about that track position right from the get-go. It'll be the forefront for even all strategies throughout the races, and that just get in front of the old mate and hope that you can keep him behind him.
Definitely, it's the way to do it.
Absolutely. So on that note, and the fact we haven't got Hobbo or Stefan Lawrence, we might call it a night and say thanks very much everyone for watching, and thanks to the boys, and well done again to the Synergy boys for taking out the top 4 spots tonight. Well done, lads.
Cheers, guys.